Everyone should have one of these envelopes with enclosure inside. Enclosure being checks or cash. Regina is running a grassroots campaign here. She's climbing a huge mountain, and it's going to take a lot of money for her to be able to work for us in our community. And I know everyone thinks about the essentials in their house, and everyone has a budget and, sits down and decides what's necessary and what we need to spend the money on for this month and next month, etc. But we cannot afford not to support her. When we talk about the necessities, and we talk about what we can afford and necessities in our life, she is a necessity for us in this community. And when she called me and asked me to be a part of this campaign, I was honored to do so. I've known Regina over 40 years, and I cannot say enough about her passion, her commitment, her sincerity, her integrity. And she's been out there when nobody else wanted to be out there. She didn't care if it was favorable or not favorable. She didn't care whether it was raining or snowing or what the weather was. She was out there. We need somebody in the state senate that's going to be about us, that's going to really, really work for us and change this community. We have lost so much ground. I've been here in Tulsa over 40 years. The ground that we've lost is disgraceful. We should be ashamed that we allow year after year that we go into the voting pool and pose and continue to check names just because they put up more signs or because they ran the last time, they're the incumbent. And so we just, like sheep going to the slaughter, we just check the name. We need a change in this community, and Regina represents the change, and she can only change things if you support her with your dollars. So I implore you, I challenge you, think about it and really dig deep and put some money in this envelope for her and her campaign. Thank you.
I also want to say, and to add to what Jayne has just said, in the attributes of Regina, we know her for her energy, we know her for her faith, we know her for her devotion. And she came back by these attributes honestly, because she comes from a family who was imbued with this sense of community and the necessity for trying to make life better in this community. I've watched her as she has sprung up and now in full bloom. And I'm so excited about that. Many years ago, when I was fresh out of law school, I had an eye on the legislature. I was a last year in law school, and about that time, Senator Jim Inhofe came to my office. He was a state senator at the time. And there was a disproportionate number of Democrats within the legislature. And the Republicans wanted to get a piece of the action. And there were no African Americans in the legislature. So he came to me. I was a young lawyer by this time. And notwithstanding his political affiliation, I joined forces with him, and we sued the state of Oklahoma as party plaintiffs, which resulted in the reapportionment of Oklahoma. The reason I mention that is and I think Regina will be able to go across the party lines. My father has always said that he didn't particularly have a permanent party, did have permanent interest. And he would support that candidate that supported his interest. I think that in this instance, the testimony that has been given to you about her work, all of us, we know about it. But she, in my opinion, as John Kennedy said in his inaugural, the torch is being passed to a new generation. I've been out there, and I'm now 75 years old, I can't believe it, but I'm 75 years old. When I thought about running for office, I could have been elected because of the Goodwin name, particularly during that period of time. But I was married and 3 young children, and the legislature paid $3,000 a year. There was no way I could go. But instead, I've made a living in the private practice and with the newspaper, and have devoted life to that service, and she is echoing that kind of service that was handed to us by for the last 90 years, like my grandfather who came here from Mississippi. I say all that to say that the testimony you've heard this evening about the issues in education, the issues of crime, and by the way, tonight I would like to introduce, she asked me to invite some of my good friends. Diana and Walker Hanson are here, the parents of the Hanson brothers, that they're here, and particularly is he here because of the outrageous things that occurred with respect to policemen and homicides. They felt, as we do, such a sense of urgency that we need to address this issue. We need to address the issue of the killings that occurred, you know, and we need to, at the same time, have a respect for law and order, but by the same token, insist that the police officers be better trained, and that they and that issue has drawn him into this. And thank you very much, Walker and Diana, for coming. I wouldn't make that particular. Now, echoing what Jayne has said, your presence here indicates that you believe in her. And we have enough people here this evening who have 10 people. You know, although there are 22,000, I think, record people that voted in an election during, depending on the time, only about 4,000 of those 22,000 vote. This is an off-year election, it's a special election, and even though there are people out there who are registered to vote, whether or not they will get out to vote is a big issue. The money that is being asked for from you this evening and from your friends is to help mount an awareness. People are aware of Regina, but Regina needs to have the bucks to be able to get that message out. But with not only with the publicity that she needs, but if each of you pledge to talk to 10 and have those 10 talk to 10, we can win this election. I'm so proud of Regina. Her grandparents would be particularly proud. Her father particularly would be proud. She is doing something I had dreamed about doing. But the unique thing about her, she's not selfish. She's not looking for accolades. She has been in the trenches. She has been, as Obama was, a community organizer. But she's done it with a passion and with a devotion and with a faith. And that's the kind of leadership we need in the state Senate. And I urge that you get out and conversation.